Hello, good evening to you and welcome to News 360. We are live from the News Hub at Adisowe Kanda this evening. I'm Natalie Fort.
And my name is Alfred Okanse. Coming up in the bulletin tonight.
News 360 Headlines is brought to you by...
Parliament approves Martin Amidu as the country's first special prosecutor.
Constitutional lawyer and chair of the 1992 Constitution Drafting Committee of Experts, Professor Nana SKB Asante, says there are no ideological differences that exist within the political parties that could influence judges at the Supreme Court.
Also ahead this evening, President Akufo-Addo pledges to make cashew one of Ghana's cash crops.
And in business tonight, traders at the Malamatap market in Accra gave government 3-day ultimatum to pay them 18,500 Ghana cedis, being the value of 185 bags of salt destroyed on Thursday.
The details of all these stories for you here on News 360, including news from the world of sports, entertainment, and the international front. We're streaming live all across the world on 3news.com and TV3 Ghana on Facebook.
Let's go on to our first story this evening, and feel free to join us with your thoughts, your views, your comments and opinions as we go on to the bulletin in the next 60 minutes. But Parliament has unanimously approved Martin Alamisi Burns Kaiser Amidu as a special prosecutor. Before his approval, the Member of Parliament for Bolgatanga East, Dominic Ayine, wanted the Speaker to be guided by a suit that he filed at the Supreme Court challenging his eligibility, but his appeal was rejected by the Speaker.
The Appointments Committee of Parliament Tuesday presented its report to the House after the former Attorney General had gone through 8 hours of vetting last week Tuesday. Earlier, MP for Bolgatanga East, Dominic Ayine, who had filed a suit at the Supreme Court challenging the nominee's eligibility, wanted the first Deputy Speaker, who was in the chair by then, to make a determination on the matter pending before the court. According to him, any comments made on the floor would send a wrong signal to the court. But the first Deputy Speaker did not see how that could affect the debate. When the Speaker himself took over the seat, he also ignored Dr. Ayine's points of order and asked that the chairman of the committee proceed to present the report. But that did not go down well with the minority. When granted the opportunity, Dr. Ayine proceeded to cite a ruling in New Zealand on a similar matter, but the Speaker would not take any of that.
Bring a law report and read it to me, and I will look at it myself. I'm not going to read from your tablets.
He asked the Bolga East MP to cite a Ghanaian example. The Speaker subsequently rejected Dr. Ayine's request after the Majority Leader asked the Speaker to rule Dr. Ayine out of order. MPs from both sides of the House during the debate praised Martin Amidu for his competence and integrity. The Attorney General and Minister of Justice was pleased with the approval.
I am confident that Mr. Amidu's appointment will be confirmed by the Supreme Court. All the qualities that I saw have been confirmed in the report of the committee that vetted him: courageous, forthright, truthful, competent.
MP for Banda, Ibrahim Ahmed, wanted urgent steps taken to pass the Right to Information Bill to enable the fight against corruption.
Pass the Right to Information Bill so that legally every Ghanaian who means well for the state and tries to fight against corruption can come legally into your office and ask for every vital information that is necessary. And that is where the special prosecution is going to have challenges, because anything happens and you have no legal backing to go and seek for that right information.
Dr. Dominic Ayine, in an interview, said it was a sad day in Parliament.
The fact that I brought electronic, references to authorities that are external to Ghana. For instance, when I cited the ruling of the Speaker of the Parliament of New Zealand, I referred to it electronically. And the Speaker told me that you cannot use electronic authorities in order to support your arguments. I found that, rather astonishing. The majority is having their way and always having their say, and we, the minority, are being shut out. And I think that it's a very sad day for this country, that our deliberative chamber is behaving this way. They will not even allow me to coherently argue my case on the floor.
Let's turn to the health sector now. Government has started the process to secure financial clearance to engage publicly trained nurses who entered their training in 2016. A Deputy Health Minister, Tina Mensah, who gave the assurance, explained that government cannot engage both private and public nurses at the same time due to inadequate funds.
Scores of the 9,905 government-trained nurses across the country stormed the health ministry seeking evidence of having been posted to various health centers across the country. They claimed to have been without jobs for 15 months, but for the intervention of the police, the aggrieved nurses would have spent Monday night in the open at the health ministry. They eventually ended up at the TV3 car park till they left for the ministry Tuesday morning. The sequence of these events were all geared towards government providing them with jobs. A deputy health minister described the situation as unfortunate, having engaged them and assuring them of employment.
The ministry has just taken their list to the finance ministry so that they will be cleared.
That is the government-trained nurses.
That is the government-trained nurses.
So there is a plan for them.
There is a plan for them. They came the last time I talked to them, and they always want you to. They want you to give them ultimatum. I asked that time. It doesn't work like that. I've talked to you. I've spoken to you last month. So you got to listen to us. Wait for at least at the middle of the month. If nothing is going on and you are talking, you'll be justifiable.
The deputy minister explained the protesting nurses from both public and private training institutions could look for jobs elsewhere since they are not bonded.
It is not only nurses who are in the system who have not been engaged. There are other people. You, for instance, you went to GIG, and then when you finished, did you go to anywhere to pick up before you had a job? We said you are now, you are not under any bond now. So if it is easy to get jobs in the system, wouldn't most of them have gone? Yes, but it is so the government has to find money to put you there. We cannot just send you there, and when you go 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, you don't get your pay.
She explained why the privately trained nurses had to be engaged first.
Over the years, we have not engaged them, and they are, mind you, they are also rendering. They go to the schools to come and render the same service to them, and it seems that we are not being fair. So at least we say gradually we have cleared the 2013, but they are 2013, 2012 people are still there. So let's clear a few of them so that we can also put you into the system. I think it is fair.
The privately trained nurses started their verification for employment on February 14 this year. However, the Minister of Information, Mustafa Hamid, is urging the protesting nurses to go home as there are adequate provisions to recruit them. He assured government has made provisions for the recruitment of 32,000 personnel, including 27,000 for various categories of nurses in the 2018 budget.
We are still bent on taking care of those from the private training institutions, together with these ones, because the 27,000 places is enough to even absorb all of them. So we are calling on them to stop the picketing and go home, because they are going to be taken care of.
Now, President Akufo-Addo has pledged to transform the cashew crop to one of the major cash crops in Ghana. He gave the assurance during the launch of a 10-year development plan for cashew at Wenchi in the Bonahafo region. Here's a report by Johnson Techi.
President Akufo-Addo was accompanied by the Minister of Trade and Industry, Alan Kyerematen, Gifty Klenam, CEO of the Ghana Export Promotion Authority, and the Minister for Food and Agriculture, Dr. Afriyie Akoto. The Minister for Food and Agriculture, Dr. Afriyie Akoto, said government will commercialize the cultivation of other cash crops to create more agricultural jobs for Ghanaians. The CEO of Ghana Export Promotion Authority, Gifty Klenam, said her administration will ensure an increase in the volume of locally processed cashew in order to generate more job opportunities for Ghanaians while increasing the value of foreign exchange from cashew.
Plans are envisaged for the establishment of a cashew development board to put in place a regulatory framework to make cashew the next cocoa in Ghana.
President Akufo-Addo expressed his commitment to transforming agricultural produce to attract global market.
As part of the plan to boost the production of cashew, The Rural Development Department of the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, together with the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, are spearheading the initial production of seedlings for the cultivation of cashew in the country.
The President said the location of the cashew center at Wenchi in the Bono Ahafo region is appropriate. He noted the local people had already been engaged in cultivation of cashew, and he assured them the ongoing cashew spraying exercise will continue in order to enhance increased production.
Now, government is to construct a new pediatric intensive care unit at Korle Bu Teaching Hospital in Accra to provide adequate pediatric care for infants to reduce neonatal mortality. First Lady Rebecca Akufo-Addo gave the hint at the launch of the 2018 Rotary Family Health Day in Accra.
The First Lady Rebecca Akufo-Addo expressed her determination to promote maternal and child health care in the country. She recounted her role in facilitating the rehabilitation of the pediatric unit at the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital. This, she said, was to help achieve Sustainable Development Goal 3, which promotes healthcare delivery. The First Lady requested private entities to support government in healthcare delivery.
We also plan to build a pediatric intensive care unit for the children's block of the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital. Government alone cannot provide all the health needs of Ghanaians. We need everyone. That is why it gladdens my heart that, as Rotarians, your 6 major areas of focus include maternal and child health.
As part of this year's Family Health Days, 50,000 beneficiaries from 50 deprived communities would undergo free medical screening from February 22 to 24.
I encourage greater and better collaboration between Rotary and the Ministry of Health. I also encourage you to consider working with other ministries in subsequent years, for example, gender, children, and social protection, education, and sanitation and water resources.
A director at the Ministry of Health, Dr. Anas Irenchi, was elated to partner Rotary on the program. 120,000 people have benefited from the program since its inception 3 years ago.
And now the Accra Regional Police Command has announced a temporary closure of some principal roads in Accra, the capital, ahead of the 5th meeting of the ECOWAS Presidential Task Force on Single Currency on Wednesday, February 21. The affected roads are from Osu Cemetery traffic light on the Castle Road to AU Circle and the intermittent closure on the Independent Avenue between the 37 interchange and the AU Circle, popularly referred to as Ridge Roundabout. The statement signed by the Regional Public Relations Officer ASP Efiatenge noted only security vehicles and other vehicles carrying dignitaries would be allowed to ply the designated roads. Motorists are therefore advised to take notice of the traffic arrangement and help the traffic police personnel ensure law and order.
Now, constitutional lawyer, chair of the 1992 Constitution Drafting Committee of Experts and member of the National House of Chiefs, Professor Nana S.K. Biasanti says there are no ideological differences within the existing political parties so much as to influence judges at the Supreme Court. In an exclusive interview with TV3, the eminent lawyer says though he is yet to acquaint himself with the full details of the controversial presentation by Professor Atukpa that got the Chief Justice infuriated, the judicial system, political ideological dimension that exist in the United States of America do not pattern in Ghana. Now, the full interview with him is on TV3 very soon, so keep watch for that.
In Ghana, some of these issues are so well developed that you can have, say, a judge appointed by this government having that kind of judicial philosophy and a judge appointed by this. First of all, the question really is whether there are even ideological differences between the parties. I mean, if you take what they say and compare it with what they do, Kufuor's social interventions, you know, capitation grants, so on and so on, that doesn't make him a socialist, or what they call it, a social democrat. or property owning demographic. I mean, it is my view that if you take 10 people from any platform, say, write an essay on the ideological difference between the two, you are not likely to get much of an answer. So I'm not so sure whether the judges have got this coherent philosophy, a coherent ideological sort of background, which should occasion them to vote one way or the other. I have been sitting on Judicial Council nominations, and people are promoted from Circuit Court to High Court to Court of Appeal, and the president hardly knows them. Like, take Kufuor's appointees. You had Kluje, you had Datiba. Now, as far as I'm concerned, it's very, very difficult to put Datiba in one ideological camp. Kluje you could put in a certain ideological camp because he was a known sort of NPP sympathizer. Yes. He was clearly a CPP sympathizer. He was appointed in Kufuor's time. Now, then we have to look at their judgments and see whether, because of that, the three of them voted in certain cases in favor of the government which appointed them. Well, I don't even know what it means, in favor of the government.
Now, let's just stay with the issue of law, because some 91 prospective lawyers out of a total of 474 student lawyers would be called to the bar in Ghana this year. Now, 206 student lawyers are to repeat the entire course following massive failure in their final bar examinations. There is more in the following news desk report.
Final year students of the Ghana School of Law are still in shock after staggering 81% of them failed their final year exams. Out of a total of 474 students who sat for the exam, 91 passed, representing 19%, who are to be called to the Ghana bar this year. This means 206 students will have to repeat the entire course. Another 177 have been referred in one or two papers. The law school's mass failure has been recorded at a time Parliament is seeking to regularize the entrance exams and interview processes instituted as part of the admission procedures into the Ghana School of Law. The General Legal Council, which oversees legal education and profession in Ghana, has mounted a strong-willed defense for the maintenance of the entrance exams. Council insists the exams and interviews are to ensure higher standards in legal education in the country.
So we want to spend a bit more time on this development, rather, and I've been joined in studio by Ken Donko, who's a spokesperson for the Concerned Law Students Association of Ghana, and he joins me here. Good evening to you, Mr. Donko. Thank you very much for your time this evening. Now, this development, you say, complements that position that you're having, that tussle with the Ghana, does the General Legal Council on this entrance exam. Why exactly?
Thank you for having me. Yes, it is true that our position has been vindicated today, looking at the result published by Ghana School of Law, that about 474 students who sat for the bar exam, we are told 383 of them have failed, and only 91 out of the 474, representing 19%, passed the exam and are going to be called to the bar. And all along, from 2012 till 2015, I may say from 2012 to 2017, the General Legal Council and Ghana School of Law have put in place some mechanism at the entry points of admission, say the entrance exam and the interview, and their justification for doing so, one is,
which we don't know. But then, I mean, how does this really affect that position? Because this is an entrance exam, which you are in a tussle with the GLC to have, as a matter of fact, that particular LI, which is before Parliament now, which is expected to mature all other things by 15th of March, to have parliamentarians rise up against that. But this is an exam to be called to the bar, meaning that is the final exams of those who are already in school, right? So how does this develop, impact on that tussle that you're having now?
You know, all along, the argument put forward by General Legal Counsel are that, one, they don't have capacity, and two, they do not want to compromise quality, and also they wouldn't want to compromise standard. It is the reason why they introduced the entrance exam and the interview. And so if you are saying that at the entry point we are introducing entrance exam and interview in order to screen the already qualified students who by law, LI 1296, qualified to be admitted without having to go through any entrance exam, but for the ineptitude of Ghana School of Law and General Legal Counsel, they are supposed to again write.
I'll probably try and understand what you mean by the ineptitude on the part of the GLC, the General Legal Counsel. But I've been joined on the telephone by Ansar Sari. Unfortunately, we lost him on the telephone. He's a former Ghana School of Law director and current director of the Mount Cresh University College. We'll try to raise him back on the telephone again to engage him a bit further on this rather disturbing development, in the words of the Professor Stephen Kwasari, who also commented on this. He put a Facebook post which read in part that is the argument that this particular exam, entrance exam, they are designed to select quality graduates must fail on this performance report. I've been joined back on the telephone, Ansar Sari, who is the former Ghana School of Law director and current director of Mount Cresh University College. Thank you very much for your time, sir. Good evening to you. Now, this rather disturbing development, is this the first time the Ghana School of Law is recording such mass failures? That out of the total 474 students who sat for the 2017-2018 final exams at the School of Law, a staggering 383 failed and only 91 passed?
Good evening and thank you. This is not the first time. In 1958, we had the law school enrolled 123 students, as the Pioneer Foundation students. They wrote their final exams in June 1963, and only 9 passed. So this is not the first time. It has been happening from time to time. What has been happening over the years, in the past couple of years, is that the General Legal Counsel differently constituted, sometimes quote and unquote massages results, in order to be able to meet the manpower requirements of the nation. What I mean by massaging the results is that sometimes they do lower, the pass mark, from say 50 to 40.
I see.
But the current Chief Justice is not somebody who is going to do that, I'm afraid. And therefore, the very day she was sworn in, I told Mount Cresh students that they are in for hard time because the incoming Chief Justice or the newly appointed Chief Justice is a person who does not compromise, on standards whatsoever. So I believe that what has happened is a true reflection. And before we jump, to hasty conclusions, I would urge, the stakeholders and other interested parties to research the reasons so we can identify some of the causes or reasons, leading to this general underperformance in this year's law exam. But I'm not surprised at all.
You're not surprised, but the example you cite is in 1963. It's a very long time ago. A lot of things, a lot of reforms have taken place up until now. What I want to find out from you is, you are saying they should research the reason, but you are pointing out a rather interesting reason you suspect could have contributed to this, because previously the GLC was, in your words, for the lack of better expression, massaging the results of these final year students, so
yes,
that
in the past. Yes.
In the past, so that they can have a number of them be called to the bar. But this time around, there's a Chief Justice who is not going to compromise on that and be for the option of massaging the results, you say?
Correct. She would have none of that. Believe you me, she will have none of that. And this is a wake-up call to law students. You see, reforms have been going on. But unfortunately, we cannot reform the minds, of individual law students. We go to law schools to read law. And therefore, law students and potential law students must understand that in reading law, there's a lot that one has to do, sacrifices, reading constantly. One has to, get caught reading. One's, statutory materials, one's textbooks, one's cases, one's articles. Now, the present generation of law students do not read at all. I mean, this is the basic truth. They don't read. And when you go to the library, do some, sample empirical study, to find out how many law students you find, in the various libraries. They don't.
Interesting.
And now if law students write, answers, and the answers are lacking in relevant authorities, I'm afraid no examiner in good conscience will pass the students. Therefore, for me, I mean, if students do not do well and the results reflect their performances, we should, leave it there so that, they'll sit up.
Absolutely.
Massaging examination results do not help the students at all.
Fantastic. Sorry, great contribution there. I want to thank you very much for your time this evening. I'm grateful. Ansari is a former Ghana School of Law director and the current director of Mount Crest University College. Pretty interesting revelations they're giving to us. But Natalie, you want to run us through what the picture really looks like of the situation we're talking about now?
Yes, certainly, Alfred. Some pretty staggering figures. I mean, given that 81% of the entire batch of students, in fact, failed this exam. Now, a total number of students, first of all, who undertook the course, 447 of them, making up 100%. That's the entire number of students who undertook the course. The total number of students who failed are, in fact, expected to repeat the entire course, not the papers, but the entire program, is 206 of them, making up 44% of them required to be repeating the entire program. The total to resit just the papers, that's not the program, the total to resit the papers alone is 177, making up 37%. And the total number of students, like you were mentioning earlier, who actually passed the exam is just 91%, making up 19% of the 100 or the 474 students who in fact undertook the entire course, Alfred. And so the numbers are pretty staggering, and it comes at a time where Parliament, as we know, is hoping to legalize the entrance exam, and that's where the concern really does come in. And so pretty staggering figures there.
It is, and we're going to stay focused on the subsequent bulletin. But Ken Donko, I want to thank you very much as well for making time to join us. I'm grateful. So that's how the situation looks like. More than 2,700 lawyers we have in Ghana, 2,000 of them in Accra alone, in a ratio of 1 lawyer to about 80,000, residents. It's that situation.
You're still live here on News 360 from the News Hub at Adisa Wakanda. We've got some business news coming up for you in a few moments' time. Stay with us.
All right, so thanks for staying with us on News 360. It's time for business with me, Nanekia Mensah Brampa. Tonight we're talking cashew production, and cashew has become the leading non-traditional export earner in Ghana's agricultural subsector. Now, the total export revenue realized from cashew in 2016 was $244,550 there, making the commodity the leading non-traditional export revenue generator.
Since the early 1960s, when cashew cultivation began in Ghana, it has steadily grown into a significant economic tree crop with a high potential of leading the non-traditional export category in foreign revenue generation.
If you observe trend of rainfalls and temperatures over the past 10 years, you realize that now we have limited rainfall, which is also erratic. But cashew is able to stand drought And then because there is also market, farmers are cutting down their cocoa plantation to plant cashew. So putting all these factors together is making cashew overtaking cocoa.
According to the Ghana Cashew Industry Association, Ghana produces between 50,000 to 70,000 metric tons of raw cashew nuts annually. Some analysts claim cashew sells for more than cocoa on the international market. Currently, it is selling on the international market at $2,200 per metric ton, as against cocoa, which is pegged at $2,100 per metric ton.
The middle belt of Ghana are the food basket of Ghana. And Techime alone used to supply more than half of the total maize that we get in the country. So if maize farmers, cowpea farmers, yam farmers, cassava farmers, plantain farmers, all of them are now converting production of those food into cashew, which is for export. What will be the implication to food security?
Cashew farmers in the Brunafo region have faced difficult situations because there is no board established to organize the marketing of the cash crop and give them value for money. Every crop season, the cashew marketing is inundated with expatriates who determine the price for the commodity per kilogram. They take advantage of farmers' vulnerability and give them any price of their choice. The new cashew board is expected to help with a full-scale development plan on the cashew industry. The secretary of the Peasant Farmers Association, Charles Nyaba, says government should look beyond the board and implement policies that will improve the fortunes of the industry.
There are instances where boards were inaugurated and the follow-up action never came up. So we just hope that the board that is going to be put in place will do proper feasibility studies, put in a good implementation plan, and then follow up. And the focus should be on adding value to the cashew nuts.
In 2016, the total export revenue realized from cashew was $224,500,000, making the commodity the leading non-traditional export and revenue generator.
Why, so the argument will be, is cashew production taking over that of cocoa? I'm sure answers will be flowing there on our social media platforms. It's TV3 Ghana. Now let's look at some more. And the Institute of HR Management Practitioners Ghana has launched its maiden HR mentoring program here in Accra. The program is aimed at equipping young HR practitioners with the requisite skills and competencies to operate within challenges facing the modern day businesses and to prepare them as change agents.
Human resource management is a fast-growing profession in Ghana, with many aspiring young talents. To nurture these talents, the Institute of Human Resource Management Practitioners Ghana, in collaboration with Talo Ghana, has launched its maiden human resource mentoring program. The year-long program is aimed at bringing together a pool of top-notch human resource practitioners to nurture the next generation of human resource leaders. 25 young human resource practitioners out of over 30 applicants with between 1 and 3 years experience have been selected for the program. Each candidate will be assigned a senior human resource professional as a mentor. The candidate will have personal quarterly mentoring sessions from assigned mentors in addition to monthly capacity building sessions. The IHRMP Best Human Resource Practitioner of the year 2016, Irene Asari, underscored the need for mentorship.
I want to see that the HR practitioner is really able to be part of the business discussion because it's around people and resource. I'd love to impact on people as well because I think our mentees in this case, I think they could benefit from a wide range skills and experience. So I'm hoping to impact their lives.
The CEO of Talo Ghana, Charles Daku, is hopeful the mentees will come out successfully and become agents of change in their organizations.
Build the confidence. A lot of this is about confidence and about the dexterity to deal with different circumstances, different situations. So my expectation is that they will grow in that confidence. They will become, in their own right, seasoned, and we can see their development translate into the support the business leaders need in their organizations.
The CEO of Media General, Pel Esua Mensah, provided some guidelines to the candidates.
People have a lot of misconceptions about mentoring, and they feel that if somebody's your mentor, they have to have all the time in the world for you, and they invade their privacy. So you have people calling at all hours of the night, or they expect that if they have any problems, you are the one they should come to. Your mentors, they're not your best friends, they're not your mothers, your fathers, so they don't expect that kind of relationship from them.
Joseph Sam is one of the candidates of the program.
Industry leaders, HR professionals who have had 20-25 years of experience to actually share their knowledge so that we will tactfully carry out that specialized role of HR.
The Institute of Human Resource Management Practitioners Ghana is Ghana's largest single network of HR professionals.
Let's look at one of our developing stories. And traders at Malam Market in Accra have given government a 3-day ultimatum to pay them 18,500 cedis, being the value of 185 bags of salt allegedly destroyed last Thursday and dumped into a river by military personnel guarding the Malam landfill site. Now, the traders also want government to recall the military details stationed at the landfill site who are restricting their movement.
What they should see in Ghana, we are all Ghanaians, so we are all Ghanaians. So if even anybody has done anything, is it right that you spoil salt 185 bags? One is 100 cedis, so it's 185. So they will pay. That's what we are asking for.
So, and I learned you gave the government some ultimatum to give you that money.
We said 3 days.
Otherwise, if not.
Oh, but we have executive. We will meet and know the next action to take.
So by what means did you inform the government to give you that money? Have you officially communicated to government for that?
We haven't communicated. So you are here, so we are using your medium for them to know.
The traders issued the ultimatum following the destruction of 185 bags of salt last Thursday by soldiers who had been detailed to the area to guard the landfill site, which ownership is in contention between them and the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources. The traders claim the landfill site was part of a portion of land the Malam Market Association acquired from a family of which they possess legal documents. They therefore did not understand why the Ministry of Sanitation wants to take over the land without proper procedures.
The land in question that they are talking about is the land for the Malam Market Association. Our land is 13.45 acres. That's the land. And we started reclamation over there before the Minister for Sanitation came in. If he knows the land is idle, nobody owns the land, he should have consulted us. We heard they said the land is for them. It is a land site, so they cover it up for them. It won't work.
A piece of land which used to be a landfill site but had been reclaimed has resulted in the controversy. The traders are claiming ownership of the property, but it appears the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources has other plans for the land. Some of the women who claim to have had their salt destroyed want the money to repay their loans. We
need the money now.
We took loans from the bank and we expected to pay back. They should give us our money. Meanwhile, there seem to be conflicting reports on the issues. Our checks reveal there are 2 factions in the markets, one headed by the market queen and the other by her brother who manages the markets. The supposed traders who had their salt destroyed belonged to the manager's faction. Some traders on the other side, however, claim they have been advised to stay off the site until the dispute is resolved and were surprised the other traders defied these orders. That land has been under dispute for a long time and we have been warned not to meddle in the issues of chieftaincy. The market queen denied report the traders had earlier been molested by the military personnel.
Nti yenko dada enya afina yenko dada wehu nti me dia asem we dia me nti ase ma no soldiers no gu ho instruction was ma yenko.
Sources say the military had been guarding the land for almost a year now as part of government's plan to reclaim various landfill sites.
And the dream of having a common currency equal for the English-speaking countries under the ECOWAS by the West African Monetary Zone began in 2000 but failed to materialize due to the inability of the members to meet the convergence criteria. Now, 18 years on, we're asking how feasible will the deadline for the single currency for ECOWAS by year 2020 be? In the face of lack of commitment shown by member states. Well, to follow up on that, Ghana will be hosting the 5th meeting of a presidential task force on the ECOWAS single currency program, which will bring together heads of states, of governments, foreign and finance ministers, as well as governors of central banks from ECOWAS sub-region to deliberate on issues related to the ECOWAS single currency. And we will be following up more on that conference tomorrow happening at the Accra International Conference Center. And we'll be giving you more detail in subsequent bulletins. But that will do for Business Tonight. My name is Nanekia Mensah-Brampa. Stay with us. Welcome back to News 360 and some more news this evening. Ivorian President Alassane Ouattara has arrived in Ghana for a 3-day ECOWAS summit on a single West African currency. He was met on arrival by the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, at the Jubilee Lounge of the Kotoka International Airport in Accra.
President of Ivory Coast, Alassane Ouattara, is in Ghana to participate in discussions with the ECOWAS task force on a single currency. President Alassane Ouattara inspected a guard of honor and he later exchanged pleasantries with government officials. He immediately went into a meeting to hold discussions on the single currency. The Ivorian President Alassane Ouattara expressed his joy that the ECOWAS Single Currency Forum will assist member countries to improve their economies. The Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, expressed confidence that the summit will help expand and integrate the economies of other countries in the West African region.
What you see happening in Cote d'Ivoire, in Ghana, in other countries makes us believe that as Africans, as West Africans, we can all move beyond aid and focus on our economies, and as we try to forge ahead together. But together we can do a lot more.
Earlier, the Vice President welcomed the President of Niger, Mahamadou Issoufou. He inspected a guard of honor and exchanged pleasantries with Ghana government officials. The two heads of state are in Ghana for a 3-day summit on an ECOWAS single currency.
This event will be at the Accra International Conference Center beginning tomorrow. Stay with us here. Now, subsequent bulletins and tomorrow will bring you a lot more details on this. But let's go for some entertainment news. In entertainment tonight, celebrated Afrobeat band Osibisa put Ghana on the world map in the 70s for pioneering authentic African music. Legendary saxophonist and founder of the acclaimed band Teddy Osei has been reliving some of the band's glorious moments and the secret behind their huge success.
10,000 men trample for the kill, the vultures fly, the wind is high, the warrior fights, the battle of power, the scavengers wait.
People hear about Osibisa, you know, and everywhere we go, they know that we came from Ghana. You know, that's the most important thing. That and most of the time people thought we're not Ghanaians. You know, you thought that we are Americans or from somewhere.
Founded in London in the late 60s, Osibisa was one of the first African heritage bands to become popular, touring and headlining major shows across the globe.
We've been going for almost 55 years. In the 70s, we put Ghana on the map. We've been to so many countries, but mostly enjoyed our concerts in Ghana. It's been good for me and for the band.
The group comprised talents including founder and master saxophonist Teddy Osei, trumpeter Mac Tonto, drummer Sol Amatefu. It's been 55 years after Osibisa was formed.
You have a lot of evergreen songs to show.
We have evergreens. We have music for Gong Gong. We are going. Welcome home. Ayiko BIA. You know, all has been some standard songs, you know, and we've been playing them for all these years.
What do you describe as a standard song?
A standard song is a song people can remember and sing with it, where it tells a story, you know. I don't think most of the songs the youngsters these days tells a story, you know. A story you can really feel that is giving you some inspiration, right? And that's what we are doing.
Let's get a classic example. One song that you did that you think told a story and inspired a lot of people. Which song was that?
Welcome Home. You know, that was our recent hit, which is, it just says that, you know, all African people, you know, abroad, you know, remember you are welcomed home, back to Africa.
Getting paid in terms of royalties for it?
Well, you know, we get what we're supposed to get from it. We really do. But not because of getting payment or royalty for it, but just to put down a song that will be remembered all the time. Like We Are Going, which Sofodas did for their cantata, you know. I mean, all these things, Uja, that says the spirit of Ghana especially.
The demise of some founding members saddens Teddy, but the veteran looks forward to a great future.
But the band is still there with young musicians, enthusiastic musicians who carried the banner across the world.
The 82-year-old instrumentalist urged younger musicians to project the Ghanaian identity, noting that it is a sure way to produce transgenerational hits.
They should also do things to include the culture of Ghana and Africa, you know, not always to copy from abroad, because copying will end whatever they're doing very shortly.
Amazing Teddy Osei.
Putting Ghana on the map.
Absolutely.
Really
What's your favorite song you love?
Well, I like Welcome Home. Lovely. I've listened to that song quite a bit.
We are going, heaven knows where we are going.
Yes.
But we are done with the news.
Popular
and I'm sure you know that if you're watching us. But I want to say thank you for spending your 60 minutes with us here on News 360. On behalf of the rest of the team, we're grateful. My name is Alfred Okansi.
And I'm Natalie Fort. Visit our website, 3news.com, for some more news. And News at 10 will simulcast on our sister station, 3FM 92.7. Thanks so much for watching. Have a lovely evening.